Welcome back to Factorio 2.1. My name is Nilaus, and this is the final factory, and we are here. Thank you very much for that overwhelming support. I guess you've wanted to see a new series on the channel, and I very much appreciate that. And we are going to be continuing on this. A few things before we dive in about the main comments in the comment section. One is, yes, it is released. It's on experimental branch, so everyone can play it. It's on Steam. Just go change the version, and you can go into experimental. Then you get access to 2.1. It's not like a special influencer version I have. This is what everyone has access to. The second thing is, like, there has been a lot of comments about, like, oh, yeah, it would be really cool if you sort of left more in so we could see what's happening and see all that. And I'm not going to do that because then it would be, you can see this. This is something I spent like 15 minutes doing off camera, and I wouldn't want half of this episode to just be a tree chopping simulator. So what I'm doing instead, I'm doing some of these things, sort of preparations offline. And as we progress, there will be maybe more things that I do preparation offline so that we can keep sort of a good momentum during the live streams. Or not during the live streams, during the YouTube videos here. And I've also decided that I want to move my power up here. Now that we have sort of the outline of the path here, then we can't build on the path. This is a sacred path, so we can't build on it. This is where I used to be able to drive, but that's not going to be where we are going to do it. We're going to be using it for logistics, so pipes are allowed to be there, power poles, that kind of thing. And that's something that we'll move on. But it's a nice segregation between the different city blocks and the different objectives. So let's talk about what we want to do today. If we look at this one, we want to go from this thing here. We want to be automating the smelting of iron, copper, and rock, and then do that here. Then we want to build the first thing off of the bus. So we're going to be talking about the main bus today, and then we're going to get the green circuit. So once we have that, then we can start building the hub and the science and all those cool things. But we need to sort of get the infrastructure in place, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, if we look back, if you have been around for a while, then maybe you know that I've been at this for a while. Let's see if I can find an old blueprint. So based in a book is something that a lot of people may be familiar with. Back then I had a much bigger, design city blocks. They were 100 by 100 tiles. Now they're 50 by 50 tiles. So if you look at this blueprint as we sort of stamp it down, it obviously doesn't fit. But the thing is about this is each smelting column is 48 of these, and that is the right number. So if you have 48, what is this? This is 10, 11, 12 here, 12, 24. You can see that 24 here. Let's actually just stamp it down here. So you can see like 24 doesn't fit inside of a block. So we can't do a full smelting column, and that's kind of one of the big issues about my smaller city blocks. So what are we going to do instead? We have a few options, and one is like, okay, we just do it half size and then build a smelting column here. Maybe we should just talk a little bit about how the smelting column works, because there are certainly different versions, but I think that by far the best one is this one. This is the one I always use and have used for many, many years, and I kind of have a tough time seeing that there's anything better. But hey, maybe you have something. So what it works is that it works the following way: that you have, this will be the iron or copper, the stuff that gets melted, and this will be coal or wood or whatever you want to use for smelting. It has to be coal in my case. Then that means when you do the splitting, then it'll be coal and stone on the outside. That means you can just do like this, and then it goes in. And I think I need to make like a unit, which is like this. I think that's four of these that turns into like a unit like this. And then we need to power it. Then we need power here. Right, it's not actually like this. There. So this is now a module in a sense, and that can sort of be repeated over here and repeated. So this is 18, right? So 18 times 2, this smelting column is 36. So the way you need to find out how much it actually generates is you divide it by 3.2. Why? Because the crafting time here is 3.2. That seems like a weird number, but it makes sense when you have 48, it'll be producing 15, which is the capacity of a yellow belt. So what if we have like this? That's, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it's certainly not what I want. Well, it's 11.25, which is not a good number. But what if we sort of look at the opportunities for how we can place it inside of a block here? So what if we build it like 1, 2, 3, and 4? That seems reasonable, right? And that is fitting in here, and then this would be a total of 144. How the hell? Oh, why is it? What? That feels so weird. Like, that's the weirdest number. Oh, right. It's because one of them got knocked off there. 144. Yeah, okay. So it's 143, but one of them isn't built because of that one. Cool. So, so 144. 144 is exactly equal to 3 full lanes. So basically, by having 4 of these smelting columns, we can make 3 full belts outbound. We just need to do the balancing. So that's actually what we want to do, and that will be sort of the baseline for this. Because if we look at this, then, well, we can get stuff in here, and that will come in as 3 full belts, but it needs to be split out to 4 inputs here, and then it comes out as 4 outputs, and that gets split back into 3 inputs if you want to get like fully saturated belts. So that is doable, and it's the best we can do with the size of the city block here. What we can then also do is say, okay, well, we have something coming back by here. We have that could be where we build our coal coming in here. So the coal is coming in, and by having the coal coming in like this, we can then branch it into all of them, and then we can get all the other things out here. So now the first thing we obviously need to do is get rid of this, because it's very much in the way. We need to chop a little bit of trees. So if we go up to this location, why did I even build it up here? Right, okay. We have this steam thing, which I have built as a full city block, and I'm going to stamp it down so we can take a look at it. This obviously can't be built because it's in the water, so that's going to be taking that out. But the essence of it, let me just clear out all the trash here. So we removed the junk so we can better see what's happening here. So this is a small smelting column, or a small steam power column. And we don't need this one because it doesn't need to go up to the next. But this will be basically what we want to build, because this can get us, let's say, 54 megawatt of power in one city block. It is possible to squeeze in more. You can see we haven't used like the maximum, but 54 steam power actually uses 13.5 coal, which is almost a full yellow belt. So having it bigger in here doesn't really make sense if we want to support it with yellow belts. So that's the thing. So we're going to be using this on a belt. We don't have the belt yet, but this is where we're going to get the coal inbound. Oops. Oh, wow, that was a big thing that it deconstructed. There we go. That one here. That one. And these just keep out as branches for later on. So that will be here. We need to hook this up immediately because we need the space in the other location. And that's going to be here. So let's see. We have built all replacements. So it's here. So we don't need to worry too much about this. There. So that goes in. When these get placed, they will need to be a little bit different. And we built 1, 2, 3. We can only build 3 because that's what I have. And then it can, once these 3 are activated, and they're going to be running on wood for now. There. So now I can, oh, I can't get out. Then I can take the other 3 and take them out, because now this is running okay-ish. I can also just put a power box in here. That one. Let's get the wood in here. Just to keep some kind of fuel going. And now we can replace this and also move it back up to the other things. Because now we have power, so we're not going to kill the power. As long as we maintain this power line through it. And what I also want to do now is, well, we have here. Let's see, let's get bigger. This will be one of our main running paths. So let's make this into a real path so we can actually run a little bit faster and get some traction up here. Good. And then That will be here. That one. And also, these are also kind of important to build. And that should get us power for a while now. That one, and... Oops. That should get us a little bit. This gets us the power. What I also want to do now is... I think I built a radar. Yes, I'm building a radar, and I'm going to place this here. But you can't really place radars without also placing protection, so we are going to do... Here, I control right-click to put half a stack, and then I take that one out. So this will now be 25 in each. That seems like a decent for just a random attack coming in. This will of course be coming in as coal, but since I have some wood from all the tree chopping, then that is fine. As much as I want to kill this part, I can't do that yet, because that would kill the entire build. So we're going to be building this here, and then hooking it up to down here. Now I can take this out. It looks a little bit weird. Good, so let's continue on this design. We are going to get, like in the ideal case, I'm going to get 3 belts in here. Okay, now the reason why I'm going to get 3 is because I don't actually want this to be... I don't want all of this to be iron. As much as I love iron, I also need some steel. And I'm kind of wondering if I should build this exclusively iron first and then build the next one with steel. Or I should make it iron and steel. I think I need to make it iron and steel. Yeah, so let's try... Let's actually try to only have... I'm wondering if I should have mix of each. I do think it would be better to have one that is exclusive iron and another one that's it. But then I wouldn't have any steel in the base. So I have to get a little bit of steel into the base. So we're going to be making it with 2 iron and 2 steel. This will make 22.5 iron and 2.25 steel. Not much. And it's also going to use a lot of steel. But we do need steel for the blue assemblers and for... power poles later on. So that is important. So this one has to be converted into steel. There is a really cool way of doing that, and that is, let's start with this one. So there are 18 here, so we go 9 deep. That's here. So we're going to take these, and I'm going to build everything here with ghosts so that we can easily do it. There we go. So what happens is here, this is iron coming out. What if... Let's see. That one. And this will then be filtering coal. There. No, it's on the other side. There. So the coal will now go here. And the iron will go here. So now this belt will have... Oh, I said I wanted to build it ghostly, but I didn't. Now I'll have the coal coming out from this line, going in here, plus the iron coming here. So that means the inside now is iron and coal, which means that if I rotate this to be now facing outwards, they could take this and put it on the outside belt, and that would be outputting steel then. And that means we can use the same blueprint size, which is very important to me. There. And then of course these two have to be cut, and then that will no longer be an output, and then I can do this here, here, and that's now coming a minuscule amount of steel out, but it is something. And then we can take this out and just do our new design here and stamp it down, because the beauty is that this now reaches both of them, and that means it takes coal from both and it goes in. So that is now the coal coming in, which means this is only using half as much iron as these up here. So that means I can get 3 lanes in. 1, 2, and then 1 mix of 3 here. These are invalid builds there, as long as they go here. Good, so what do I need to do? I need to, first of all, take this one through. Kind of like doing it like this. And that's inbound, and then you go up here. That's, oops, that's inbound here. And then it goes up and continues into the next tile, which obviously it isn't going to do in this case, but I need it for sort of a blueprint logic. What I am going to do is I'm going to take this and leech it over so that any coal. I will only have a single coal line, and that will be going also in here to feed the power, which is risky. Or it's bad form, to be perfectly honest, to prioritize smelting before prioritizing the power plant. That shouldn't be done. But luckily we can do this. This will not be part of the blueprint that we are going to design, because this is specific to this space and not generic. And then what I can do, I can now figure out how to get this in here. And that goes in here, and the other one is here. Inbound, this will now go here, and then it's going to be inbound here and inbound there. So that is actually going to be 2 smelting columns of iron, not much, and 2 smelting columns of steel. And if I get the coal inbound here, and if I get the iron inbound here. So the first thing we need to do is get the coal here, because that means I don't have to hand feed this one anymore. That's something I'd really want. And I'm going to be placing this here, and then also putting a few turrets next to it. So that's going to be here. That one, take half. There. Right. Oh, these are always running out. So we need to now use our newly crafted electric miners. So let's hook this up with electric miners and start leading them up here. They're going to be on this belt, because that's where it's going to have to be eventually. So that will be like the simplest place to do it. So when placing this, there are many different ways. I really like the one that I think I've seen sometimes some speedrunners do, and that is by sort of having one line is full and the other line is just kind of too interspersed. I don't want stuff like this, they will mine out too quickly. And then you can put small power poles in these locations, and then the belt here. It's super easy to make. I think that's the advantage of this. And here, and then I just do, and then just a little space. And I want to make sure that every tile can be mined, but I don't want to make sure that I don't want to be over like building. I could build one here, but it won't really have much. It'll have 600. And I'm not going to build down here, because that will be where I built the temporary, or not the temporary, the small ones. And these, oh, why did I not match it up? Ugh, of course I need to match it up, otherwise it's just silly. And that will be, this will be our inbound, and it needs to go, I'm going to do this here, and then get in here, and then get that up. We will also need to get something on the other side, so we never need copper, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. This obviously power, but I also have this part here. This still needs to try to work. Probably not going to work for very long, but yeah, I still want this to kind of work, and I can build these out here. And then power this one up, and also use more of this, because we want this to, okay, be our running path. Oh, come on. How difficult can it be to run in a straight line? Not very difficult, or very difficult apparently. Good. This will now need to be powered, so I'm going to drag it up to this intersection here. And then see, oh, there's a way. And simply drag it up, and maybe even there. Sweet. And I think we want another radar here. I think we want, radars are a little bit too intensive, power intensive, but I do want them. And there, and I just got another research, so now we're working on power, better armor, that one. We just basically need everything, and we want to clear this up pretty soon. So this is working, and I did get a radar. Yes, so let me build that here, and then also protect it. There. Right, that was first thing. Now the next thing is, well, we also always want this one to sort of keep going, and then go here and pick up stuff that we need, because we do need a lot of ammo, actually. That's kind of troubling, to be honest. And we also need a lot more of the turrets when we need to go out, because this is the pollution cloud. This is our main pollution. It'll be spreading out. We don't see any more biters here, but they're going to be around. And when we now have a couple of radars, then they will also be helping expand out there and see what's going on here. Great. So now I need to make this. This is it's just one of those things where back and forth. Once we have this, we can actually, well, we need to get the iron in here, but this is just one of those things where it just takes forever to build, so no need for you to watch that as I struggle to place things correctly here. We are not going to build everything, are we? Yeah, let's build everything. And look at this glorious thing here. They're full of lights and happiness, except it's not really full of the iron that we need. So now the challenge becomes, we need to make an inbound here. We can only get 2 lanes inbound. So even if we only have 2 lanes inbound, let me just see if I can make that into a balancer. That would be something like this. That goes straight through, that goes straight through, and you're going to go sort of around. And then that will jump out here. So that will be the balancer, but it needs a little bit of tweaking to get it all completely correct, like that. That is a balancer. 1, 2 inbound, and that's a 2 to 3 throughput unlimited balancer. So that basically gets 2 belts in and then get 2 belts out here. So now the next thing we want to do is, I need to, even if it doesn't exist, it needs to be, yeah. So now we need to get from this location, get it in here. So we need to find a way to sneak this past all the other stuff. So that's a little bit of a hassle, and we do need quite a bit of belts, but it's, yeah, it's the next step, getting iron inbound. We've now hooked up all of the iron in here. This is all the iron we can get, and there is this rule that every 30 of these, you need 30 miners to fill up a full belt. So we won't even have a full belt, even though we have quite a lot here. So we're going to drag the power in, and as soon as that hits, we're going to see a spike in power, maybe. Well, I would expect. We have 10 megawatt available. We're using 6, so we're still okay. I put a radar out here because then we can scout to that side, because this is starting to generate a lot of pollution. We have now seen a new biter nest. That's a big one, which needs a lot of iron to take care of. So that's a thing. We've also moved all of this around here just a little bit, just to see if we can get, like, have this part up here being still the manual mining for now. And we're now getting the iron inbound. That's glorious. This one needs to keep going as well. And the main one that I'm eager for is actually, I mean, I want the shooting speed. I want this to be done. We're going to finish up the red research from this little blip here, which will be fine. And then, then we need to get to the copper. So the copper is the next objective here. I'm going to do that. And this will just be fine. This will be fine here. Good. Right. So we get the iron inbound, and then we start seeing the fully automated. This also means that when we need more iron, we can just go back here and empty these furnaces, because they will have everything we need. So at this point, it should be pretty easy, right? Because what I need to do could just be say, okay, I'm just going to take this. Let me make sure that I can actually see it. I will flip it horizontally, and then I will place it in this corner. And then, of course, realize that this doesn't make any sense. We're not gonna make, there's no such thing as copper steel or whatever. So that goes out. Also, this one doesn't go out, and for the blueprint purposes, it'll go up. And then these two should just be replicated from here and down there. And that's how easy we make the copper. Yeah, kind of, almost, because this thing here also needs to get in, and oh, whoa, I misplaced it. I must have misplaced something here. Oh, right, of course I did. There, and there. Oops. Don't know what's in the way, but that doesn't matter. And inbound. This will obviously be able to handle a lot more than we can. I just want to make a single one. So what we need to do now is a little bit of hacking away here. We need to get the coal and copper below this one and up here and in. Yeah, that's a thing. We've now finally made it all the way up here, all the way back to this location. We are now getting this inbound, and if we look at that, it's just dragging it all the way down here and cutting through the forest. Yeah, that's why we cut some of the things out on YouTube episodes, so we can get a little bit more focus on the more interesting stuff. We put a radar up here plus some defenses, but we have not hooked it up to the power yet, so that's going to be like the last thing we do for this part, and that will be reaching over from this side. So, well, that is iron and copper done, and we can then just, the beauty is now we can do this and just get tons of iron, which is really nice because we need it for belts. So we now have iron, copper done. It took a while to do. The last thing we want to do is actually hook up the stone, because then that gets up. Well, didn't I also promise some green circuits? Well, the thing is, I have made space here for this location here to be turned to green, but oh my god, someone just put a ton of trees in here. Well, the thing is, yeah, the stone bricks are used for one thing and one thing only, and that is to, let's see, where is the block? That is 6, and that is another 6. So this is what I need. And then I need to make it at the same size here. Like that. And then I just scroll up to see if it's in line. Yes. So I would need to make this one. This would consume a full yellow belt plus a full yellow belt of stone. There is no way we have that. So we're going to start by just making one. And then we're going to get the stone out. This raw stone, we need to get that onto the bus, which is here. Not right now, but we mainly need the stone bricks just to craft it so we can build the rest of the pathing here. So that means yet another thing. Hook up this one for more miners, drag it all the way over here, hook up one of these, and then have this just sit there, just accruing some more some stone bricks so we can use it for paving. And now we're getting the stone inbound as well, and we saw an attack, so this one is actually aggroed. These will be aggroed as well. This one has to be taken out very, very soon. Otherwise it keeps coming in and we can't really protect it. But the good news is we got stone inbound, or stone bricks. We got the copper just filling up the buffer. Once that stops, that also stops mining. The iron, you can see that's just stale here. The only thing we're missing is actually going out and poking these ones, which require a lot of iron, which luckily is something we have. And then we need to make the green circuits. I just want to make the green circuit in this episode because that will lead very well into the next episode, where we need to build the hub and the science and progress from there. So, first things first, we need to set up a lot of manual construction of... We can build this while I accrue some more ammo. I think that's the right thing. I have prepared something, and this is a blueprint that is just used as a delimitation. It is actually something I did in my city box here, so I'm going to take this blueprint and I'm going to do a little copy and put it in here, because this will now be our indicator. Okay, well, we probably don't need to put in these two here. Now, obviously, we don't have the circuit networks yet, but this is simply to tell me and you where each of these items should be placed on the bus. So we need steel here, we need iron here, we need copper here, and we can also see that later on this copper will be transitioned into something else, because we are in short supply of this. And right now, since we only have like very few things, it's very simple to bring stuff up here. And then over on this side, we can also have the iron. And the thing I want to do with the iron is that I want to just actually put it on 2 belts, because then I'll use the belts as kind of a storage as well. And that'll go here. So we now get our first main bus built in here. The beautiful thing about the main bus generally, and we'll talk a little bit about more about that in a later episode when we sort of start need to leveraging it. But the idea is that it functions as a little bit of a self-balancing setup. Oh no, we don't have any more belts. Well, maybe I don't need to build all this right now. So make more belts. And that means that it's self-balancing by prioritizing, well, obviously prioritizing the first things first, and that's why there's some logic to what we want to build first on this here. And look at all this steel that we really shouldn't have built, but we have it. Now we have steel, and eventually it'll fill out. Unfortunately, this, by the way, I should say, this is not a good idea, because we have so little iron in space, and I'm wasting it on making steel. I should be focusing on iron. I just like having a base that looks neat, and that's why I'm doing it this way. So this is also obviously not working for Death World, because I would need like a tighter pack base. But I really like building things where I need it eventually, so that I build it once and then I never have to come back to it again. I can come back and upgrade, but I don't need to sort of move things around. So that's why I'm building it sort of so spread out and so structured. And I love it. I hope you do too. So what I want to build here is using the bus, the stuff that comes in here, and branching it off into the first thing, and that's going to be green circuits. That's the first and most important thing that we can do. I'm going to get this in here because it's very important that it has all the space available, and that's going to be all the way here. So the build for green circuits is very, very universal, very old, and it looks like this. 3 to 2, and it can be... I have my own little version. That's because I always have my own versions of everything. So here, what I'm going to do here is we are going to now use some of the blue inserters, because they need to move a little bit faster than what you can. So that's going to be like inbound, inbound, inbound. And then let's get a light here. Then they're going to be here. And that will balance off nicely. So what I need to do is now I want to output this here onto a belt that goes out. This will be our main output belt, and I'm going to do these because then I'm put into inserters and I into bounces, and I just prefer that. Reason why I prefer that is let's see. Oh right, this actually, that could be over here, and that can be over here, and then that could be over here. Great. And this will now go out and go back on the bus somewhere. Don't know exactly where, but luckily we have our setup down here that says it's right on this belt. So this is where I'll build the green, and they'll just go over here for the greens when they're done. But we need something else in. So we need something else in, and it's not so easy to get. That is going to be the iron one coming in, and I'm going to bring it in here. That doesn't help getting into this one, but luckily we can do this weird setup, and then I can use that. Now that looks weird, but it's I like it, and I would actually like to put a light in here. That will we like lights, yes. And then we can just do all of this, and then I flip it vertically, and then I do the same thing up here, and that's going to be the design. And then the reason why we build it like this is because then if I see, it will just exactly fit one more build, which obviously we're not going to make, but we can. Plus this one is tiling. And I can also tile it like one more, and one more. And that will actually use the whole idea. And I can do some hack over here so it doesn't go out onto the sacred path, which of course it shouldn't. But this is more than enough for what we need right now. So we're going to be building this size and then hook it up. This is now ready to be hooked up. And we start by hooking this one up here, the copper coming in, and then the iron is also hooking up here, and that means we now have the very first build off of the hub. This will produce 12 green circuits per minute, which is pretty much a close to a full of the yellow belt, which is more than enough for what we need right now. And all the stuff that I've sort of been building here, this is very important to note, is that all this is of course available to patron supporters. So if you are a patron supporter and you're supporting the channel, then I give you these blueprints so that you can easily make all this yourself. Funny. Okay, that's because it's the next tier, but that was fine. Then the only thing we're actually missing at this point is to clear out the biters, and that's just a last thing. But I can't have this inside of my network. So we need to go out here. Do we have enough to feel that we can combat them? I have 500 plus 100 here. I have 20 of that, and I probably need a little bit more of that. So let's head on out and take care of that as sort of rounding off this this episode. So the way I do this is always the same. I put a few of these down. That ghostly, but put a few of these down. Then I take my ammo and I hold. I just do it. I can't remember what I do. Hold shift. No, hold control and then right click over it. That puts 50 into each. That's just a really convenient way to put 50 in to each of them. And then I'm going to be moving and moving forward. And that's basically how I'm going to do it. So the first thing we want to do is make like a fallback location. So that's kind of outside of the range, just as they aggro. And then we're going to push forward quickly. Here they come. That's going to be there. And then we can now push forward. And now we need to get in here where they actually do something. And then I'm going to be trying to repair. That one right now didn't get anything. And you can see how well it actually works. And then I can now go closer and put some more in here. Get the last one. Oh, we killed one. We lost one. That sucks. Because they actually have quite a lot of ammo into it. So I lose a lot of ammo by when I lose one. That's the bigger issue. It's not the turret itself. It's maybe 50 ammo inside. 40 ammo probably. And even if it was a big one with worms and stuff, it was actually super easy to take out. So that was good. We lost one turret. That's fine. We can take these out if we want to. But that's kind of it. So let's have a look at our glorious little base. Look at it. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to take that one out because it looks even better. We now have smelting columns for iron, steel. We have copper. We have stone. The stone bricks are just accruing here so that we can just make the rest of these ghostly path into real paths so we can move around it more easily. And we are burning through, where is it? Here, burning through this one way too quickly. We're down to less than 200,000. There is a new one out here, which has plenty, which is great. The only thing, or the main thing we don't have is the coal here is also very low, and we don't have any replacement for that. So what we need to do now is go on with the science. We've done all of the red science. The next episode will be just smashing through all of the green science, red and green science, and working on a hub with the automation 2, the circuits, and the power poles. Those are the main tech we need to get next time in order to continue to build up our base. After that, it's probably going to be defenses, maybe even get more resources because this is running out pretty quickly before even going into oil. So we'll probably go into trains before oil because I think this should be a train input. Also because I want to show how this base integrates with trains, which is pretty neat and it's already been sort of designed. So, so if you want to continue to support the channel, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section if there are good ideas, bad ideas, or mistakes, or what you want to see more of, less of, more explanation of, more cuts away. And then I'd love to hear that. And of course, thank you very much to everyone on Patreon who's supporting the channel and get access to all these glorious blueprints. Every episode will expand with more blueprints so that you can expand that. So until next time, thank you very much for joining. Take care and stay effective.